Welcome to Touched and Empowered, a show created to empower individuals to value their lives by hosting think tank discussions that will inspire positive action. Touched and Empowered with Katie and Ace starts now.
In New York, doesn't matter if you're attractive. If somebody comes up to you, you're always on guard. You're like, what's up? Just kind of like how that works. When I was working in TV development, I had a mentor bring me to the side and tell me, no one really likes to feel uncomfortable talking to the assistant that seems a little,
No,
and I
guarded.
had no idea, like I was coming off that way. So I was just like, this is how you come off. And she was like, you could just be friendly. And I was like, okay. So I'm friendly, right? I'm friendly with everyone. And then as I get prettier, it's mistaken as flirting.
Well, some people just like the idea of someone's flirting with them, whether they are or are not.
Exactly. Now let's talk about the truth here. Here's the taboo subject. She wasn't flirting. No.
Okay, so
those are the types of conversations that really need to be discussed, because like a lot of people are misjudging somebody's behavior based off of that.
Well, there's some of it is the fact that I don't know about anyone else, but I will tell you that I have no recollection of ever seeing my mom flirt, or my stepfather, or my biological father, or my stepmother. I have no recollection of seeing any adult flirt. The only recollection I have of learning how to flirt was movies, TV.
I had my older sisters.
Yeah, no, I didn't have older sisters.
I know. So, all right, funny enough.
But still, we pick up what we know from what we have access to.
So let me talk about the styles of flirting with my 3 older sisters. This is going to be fun because they're going to love me for this. So my oldest sister, I think I've mentioned, she looks like the Filipino version of Angelina Jolie. She's freaking beautiful.
Yes, I did see on one of your Instagram posts. I did see her, yes.
Right? She's freaking gorgeous.
She's gorgeous.
Thank you. And she still looks like that. She's married with 2 kids. She still looks like that and just fabulous. That's my oldest sister. So I'm always humbled whenever I think about my looks. 1, 2. So my oldest sister, she didn't really have to flirt.
Yeah, I can see where that is likely.
Right? Because she just looks the way she is. People come up to her. She doesn't really know what's going on because everyone's acting that way towards her. So she thinks that's normal.
That's true. And I'm sure that there are a lot of other people who just naturally have that look, that charisma, that energy to where people just come up and just want to be friendly and lovable towards you.
Exactly. I can wear that outfit of my sister. Now, my second sister, she's a ball buster. I love that. So the fact of the matter is, like, she's intelligent. She is like, she's so self-sufficient. It's like, if you really want to talk to her, don't waste her time. And if she's ball busting you, that means she likes you. That's her way of flirting.
I'm going to keep my comment to myself because I don't know enough about your sister to make that comment.
All right. So if it hurts your manlyhood, she's not flirting. She just doesn't like you. I freaking love that. I watched that one and it's so great. It's so entertaining. I just sit there and I watch and I'm like, this is so good. This is so good. Now my third sister, I actually learned how to flirt through her. Like, I've seen her flirt in response to a guy flirting to her.
Yeah. So it's all about what you're exposed to.
Exactly. I learned how to make the first move because of her. She's gonna watch it.
She's gonna be like, "Oh my god, I corrupted my sister. What is wrong with me?"
Very astute. I was observant. We didn't know I had photographic memory yet. So I remember how she would flirt. And the funny thing is, based on all three of them, they all have different personality traits. They all have different personality types.
Right.
And we know I do. Now, you put us in a room. It's kind of cool because we like reaffirm our personality. Like we know we're not twins, or like we know we're not quadruplets. There's no. We all have our different flaws. We all have our different characters, quirks. We all have our air quotes flaws. I don't think they're flaws. I think they're fun things. But
Right.
we have so much fun talking about being uncoordinated. See, I ran into a window. My other sister, she like jumped off a ledge and bounced into a bush. I don't know how that happened, but something like
the bouncing delegos. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we are funny. But the fact of the matter is, like, they didn't know. They actually didn't know. My mother knew when I was 8, like after we found out when I was 8 years old about my about the suicidal thoughts. They had no idea. We kept that a secret between myself and my mother forever.
Yeah, because the belief that if they knew, it would put the thought in their heads.
I think from my mother's perspective, maybe, right? From my perspective, even to this day, I haven't like told them straight up,
Right.
right? Because being judged for that, that's a pretty deep wound.
Which is why a lot of people don't talk about it, because they're afraid of the type of reception they're going to get with sharing those kinds of news. If you have something happy and exciting to share, you're going to get married. You're going to have a baby. You just got a new job. You just got a new car, something like that. You're excited to share that with absolutely everyone in the entire world because you just want to spread that joy.
If you're coming from a place, yes.
If what?
Yeah, let's talk about that taboo subject.
Okay, because I missed what you said. So
if you're coming from a place of let's celebrate this beautiful, wonderful news, I'm so excited. It's going to be happiness. Let's share this with everyone. I'm so excited. And then the people that hear it are going to also be like, yes, I'm so excited for you. I'm so happy for you. Yay.
Yeah, because it's coming from a place of genuine energy, genuine excitement.
When you share that with your true friends, that's what you're going to get.
That is true. Because if you share it with somebody who is not a true friend,
you're not going to get that.
You're not going to get that.
And that's a fact. A lot of people become so heartbroken once they find out that their friend that they thought was a true friend wasn't a true friend all along.
Yes, and that does hurt, especially when you are told by individuals in high school, oh, the only reason I became a friend with you is because I wanted to date your best friend. Thank you for that confidence boost. But that's what it was.
Am I like, so I understand that can hurt. Did you like the person?
I thought I did. Okay, they did turn out to be a good friend. I would call them a good friend. They were not a best friend or anything else like that, but they were a good friend. They were someone that I talked with on occasion. We were hung out on occasion. We were part of like the same group of friends that hung out or whatever. Would I ever, after hearing that, did I ever have thoughts of dating that person again? Nope.
So I learned that lesson. So there is this thing called being two-faced. That's a
Yes.
taboo subject. A lot of people are like, I don't want to say that somebody's like that, as like
Uh,
my blonde hair.
definition of two-faced: you act a certain way with this person, and then you act a completely different way when you are not with that person. Simple definition. We all have times in our lives where we have done that. No, it could be unintentional.
Yeah, well, a good portion of the time it's not.
Yeah, it could be your subconscious. You're not consciously doing it. For example, I know I had a business personality versus a personality that I hung out with when I hung out with my friends and family.
I had a cutthroat personality when I was like in CAA.
Right. There are times that you do need to have two different personalities based on what's going on around you.
I'm sorry, I want to really,
Go.
so I don't want anyone thinking that you should, there's something called like identity separating within yourself.
Yeah.
we I highly discourage that. I
Yeah.
encourage that you feel whole. So when you speak to somebody and you have to put on the mask to feel safe, right?
Yeah.
Or put on the mask because you're just tolerating the person in front of you and you don't really want to talk to them. And then you turn around and yourself, then you can let go of those masks and you can let go of yourself and be yourself. That's what I consider two-faced.
Yeah. It's one thing to have the one person persona at work and one persona when you're not working. It's another thing to wear the mask and act like someone's best friend to when they are no longer in the room to take off the mask and talk trash about them.
Yeah, do you know how often that happened to me?
That happens, unfortunately, a lot.
And yeah, it does hurt once you figure it out.
It does. And it hurts not just the person that you were false with,
It hurts.
it hurts everyone who hears you do it, and it hurts you.
And it hurts trust with an entire community.
Yeah. And once that trust is broken, it's hard to rebuild.
I think I told Katie this once. There's a lot of growth that can happen in 2 years.
Absolutely.
I'll give somebody a chance to renew that trust after those 2 years, if that trust is that broken. That's how long it takes for me. And not everyone is that compassionate.
True. I have come across people who, once the trust is broken, it's gone, it's forever.
Right.
And I have been in and seen situations where trust was broken and it was attempted to be rebuilt, but it was never as strong as the original trust. It was on a rocky foundation because one party never knew if they were going to be hurt again.
Very fair. So there is actually a way to bridge that trust, but that's where the taboo conversations kind of come into play, right? So
Yes.
you're going to be wary about the person for a while. You're not going to trust them for a while.
Or if you do, you're going to trust them at arm's length.
Exactly.
Take it with a grain of salt.
Yep.
You're not gonna be tuned in 100% to what it is that they're saying because you're going to assume it's tainted.
Or they're going to do something with what you said, right? Because like they did it before.
Ooh. Yes, that's true. That's the other side of the coin.
Oh yeah, 100%. And will I still respect that person and still believe that they deserve to be happy? I actually do. Will they learn their lesson in the meantime because they're not going to be happy till they do? I believe that for sure.
Well, here's another thing though, is I can still respect and love the person, even if I do not agree with their actions.
Yes. And I can't control them either.
Yeah, you can't control somebody's actions. You can't control somebody, no matter how much we say, we cannot control someone's thoughts. We cannot control their emotions. We cannot control their actions. The only thing that we have control over is what goes on behind our eyes and between our ears.
Exactly. And look, so I've had people come back after 2 years, right? They did something. Did you learn your lesson the first time I tried to address it, or I addressed it and I said it to you and you didn't do anything about it? Still. Then after that, it's like the shame, shame on me, shame on you.
Right.
Even though I don't really believe in, I don't believe you should throw any shame, but I do understand if you're going to do something that harms somebody.
Yes.
You got to protect yourself from that.
Because actions speak so much louder than words do.
Yeah. And the taboo subjects that we talk about, I don't think people realize when you judge somebody for their wound, they won't trust you.
That is true, because that is when we are most vulnerable. And if you hurt us when we're vulnerable, we will assume that you will always hurt us.
And then we can't, it's like the moment you do that to somebody, of course they're going to fear actually opening up to you. They will 100% fear it. But the other problem with that is that's why there are so many people hiding. They hide their sexual orientation. They hide the fact that maybe they've gone through trauma. Maybe they attempted suicide. Maybe they did something, right? And somebody judged them for their truth, their honesty, what they went through. They don't want to share that with anybody else because they believe that they're going to get hurt again for that reason. And that is why we're doing this podcast, because I don't think anyone should ever feel like they're going to be hurt for what they've gone through.
Agreed. And another side of that is, for some of us, and I'm being very general here because I don't know if it's the same for everyone, but for some of us, we don't speak our truth as to who we are when it comes to some of these taboo subjects, just gender choice, not choice, but gender identity, sexual identity, kinks, whatever, because we see the attitude of the people around us on every other topic, that we perceive what we assume their attitude is going to be when we share something so dear to us, something so strong to our core, to our identity, to our soul. I had a friend in high school who came out to his parents, and the gut reaction that they got was not a good one. It took a few years. He mended the relationship with his parents, but he was the one that I was referring to. That trust there, he still walks on eggshells around his parents, and it's been over 20 years since I was in high school.
That's a real thing.
He still walks on eggshells around his parents because he doesn't know if the next thing he says, the next boyfriend he introduced, or the next drag show he does is going to cause his parents to react negatively again.
Yeah, and we discussed this before. I think I'm gonna, relate to that story. Remember when I said I told the doctor, I was like, yeah, I have those thoughts, right?
Mm-hmm.
My mom instantly cried.
Right.
I never wanted to tell anyone that ever again in my life. And I didn't for a good 20 years unless I met somebody who was going through it. Or I could see that they're about to.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, these taboo subjects, like they're
Well, here's the lesson I learned from these taboo subjects. A rule that I didn't even realize was a rule that I had created back when my son was born. And I told my husband this. I said, I want him to be able to tell us anything without fear, knowing that he is not going to be judged. And whatever it is, if there's a problem, it will be resolved without consequence for at least 24 hours. If he does something stupid, he's still going to get grounded, but there's not going to be an immediate consequence to me being told whatever it is. My husband didn't understand it. He just said, okay.
that's fair. We talked about that.
Because, the knee-jerk reaction that your mom had with the instant crying, subconsciously and even consciously, I don't think she was aware as to the meaning that you would have assigned to that when you were only 8 years old.
Yeah, or anytime I would get hurt.
Yeah.
Anytime I would get hurt, I would like, I mean, don't get me wrong, Mom, you're good. Love you. You're fine. This is actually in a bunch of books now.
Yeah.
Any immigrant parent who's like raising children, there is this thing where it's like your response to your child getting hurt will associate early on what that means. So for instance, I remember I like got a cut in my eye, like right under here once.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom blew up. She got really mad. And when you get really mad, it's because you care and you want your child
Right.
to care for
You're
themselves.
worried, you want to take care of them, you want to make sure that they're okay, you want to make sure there's no scarring. All of the mom questions, as I call them, I completely understand.
Exactly. When I got older, that to me meant don't show mom I'm hurt.
Yeah.
She's gonna get mad.
And it wasn't, I'm assuming it was not because she was mad at you, but she was just mad at the situation as to where you got hurt because she didn't want you to be hurt.
Exactly. And I came to that understanding later. I did.
Yeah. And, but that's the reason why I created this rule for my son, just because I can remember being terrified of telling my stepfather that there was a dent the size of my pinky fingernail in the side of the car.
My sisters taught me a really, they didn't mean to teach me this.
Oh yeah, they did. They taught you a hack so then that way you could hide it.
No.
No?
Taught me the hacks to get away with it.
I'm glad you at least had that.
Oh, that was
I didn't have that.
Oh,
so
that saved me from so many tickets.
I can only imagine. But I didn't want my son to come home getting a, oops, I jumped the curb parallel parking. I didn't want him to come into the house and be terrified to tell me that there might be a scuff mark on the hubcap. Who gives a crap? It's a car. You're safe. But if I didn't hold space for him to tell me what it was that he was trying to tell me, and I immediately reacted, he's going to assume that the car is more important than he is. Because that was the assumption I had from my stepfather's reactions. So I know for a fact the vehicles were more important to me because he told me so.
That was fun. My mom, so I shipped my mom my car, right? I didn't need it over here. Her car broke down. It's New York City. This is 2020, 21, where the Asian hate crimes are happening. And I'm freaking out because I don't want my mom going to work, but she's a nurse. She has to go to work. Right. And she doesn't have a car. And I'm just like, no, have my car. I don't need it right now. Take it. All right. Shh.
Did she get a little fender bender?
She totaled my car.
Oops.
She totaled my car. And I call her because my mom and I have a psychic connection. It's really cool, actually, folks. Like, I know when something's up and I need to call my mother. Like, it's just the awesomest thing. So I'm like, oh snap, what's wrong with my mom? So I call her and I'm like, Mom, are you okay? And she's crying, freaking out. She's like, I saw the car. And I'm like, you did what, Mom? I love you. What did you do? She's like, and she's like really hysterical on the phone. And I'm like, Mom, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, but my car is totaled. I'm like, your car. Biting my lip. She's like, there's so much money. I'm like, Mom, are you okay? Is your back, are you body wise, are you okay? Are you okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm okay. I'm fine. The car's totaled, but I'm okay. I'm like, Mama, we can replace the car. We can't replace you. You're okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, yeah, I feel better. Thank you. And then she hangs up. And then like I'm like, okay, tell me when you call Dad, because Dad's not going to be what I just did.
Yeah, Dad's not going to be calm.
Dad's not going to do what I just did. But like, I love you. Just be safe, relax, high blood pressure, breathe. Namil didn't get killed. I will call me after. It's going to be okay. Then we hang up, and I'm like, my car.
Yeah, because you held the space for your mom, and then when no one else was around, you could then have your emotional breakdown for it. I like, for example, when my son told me that he broke up with his girlfriend, I held space for my son. I asked, "What do you need?" I cracked a joke. Do you need breakup ice cream? He knows this now, but he doesn't know that after I left the room and went upstairs, I was like, oh, thank God she's gone. It was not a healthy relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But I could not tell my son that it wasn't a healthy relationship because what did you do when your parents told you shouldn't date somebody? You went behind their back and dated them anyways.
Yes.
Well, I did.
I did. Like the stereotype that my mother told me not to date at one point, I brought home first boyfriend. But
yes.
But subconsciously, I don't know why I wanted to, but I did.
We wanted to prove that we knew what we were doing, that we were adults, that we could make grown-up decisions and make choices. Yeah, no, our brains were still being developed.
Yeah, that changed. The recent one that was not healthy. My mom, I asked my mom, I actually did ask her, I was like, what do you think of this one? And she went, and
I love the head tilt.
Yeah. Mom, I am one of, the daughters, right?
Right.
Everyone else is married with kids. I'm the last one. She wants kids from me.
Of course she does.
Yeah, that pressure is there. She's kind of like, if they're half-witted, marry them. Like,
if they got a pulse.
Yeah, like, right? And then she sees me with this guy. And mind you, I'm like losing weight. I'm like looking awful. Just not. And I ask her, I'm like, what do you think of them? And she goes, if you like them, I'll like them. If you don't like them, that's okay too. That said so much.
Yes.
And that was enough for me to go, my mom doesn't like you. That means I'm not liking you. We're good. They're relieved of the pressure. We can say goodbye. Mom doesn't like, we're good. Yeah, we're all right. Mom's like, my mom is like, as I mentioned, I'm like also kind of in that situation where I'm like in between that break period. Thankfully, nobody knows I'm dating this guy. This is great. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't even know who he is. It's great. It's awesome. This is why it's so easy for me to talk about him. Anyways, so my mom, I call her and I'm like, Mom, she didn't hold space in this, but it was funny. I was like, Mom, giving it a week, I want to have space to really like think about it, reflect on it, know if he's the right person for me.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, you should decide now. What are you talking about? If she's not the one, he's not the one. Get going. Get going. I'm 31. It's okay. I have time.
That's okay. I'm going to share this real quick, and then I know we're going to have to wrap up this episode.
Yes, thank you.
But my husband is the oldest of two boys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so his brother and his wife had been married for, I want to say, 8 years when Brian and I got together. Didn't have any kids. Okay, I am 13 and a half years younger than Brian. Brian's parents took one look at me and said, good, we're getting some grandkids.
See what I mean? See what I mean, ladies and gentlemen? These are the pressures that women go through that isn't talked about. It's a taboos conversation. You know,
granted, we waited 3 years before we had my son, Austin. But still, it was one of those that I knew it was expected of me to provide grandkids because they were tired of waiting. And I can laugh about it now because, we don't realize the pressure that we put on family members when we say things. Because words really do have power.
Especially if you're the parent. Because the good girl, good boy syndrome, as much as people think that they don't have it, it's there for everyone.
Unfortunately, it's ingrained in our lizard brains.
Yep. When I am tired, I do anything to help my mom. When I'm not tired, that's when I can actually comprehend what I'm doing.
And say nope.
No.
Oh, no. Mine is, let me get back to you. That is my compromise to saying no, is let me get back to you. Because if it's something that needs to be done, if it's something that's really urgent, I have time to think, I have time to process, and then I can be in the right mindset to get it done. If I say, let me get back to you, and she doesn't bring it up, it was never important, and I don't have to worry about it.
See, that's excellent. You know that. If I said that to my mom.
Well, we're also talking different human designs here.
Right. But she'll dig in. This is also this is something that is
different culture. Yeah.
Different type of mom. Anyone out there who has this type of mom, please feel free to leave this in the comments. It's okay if you do. We love them anyways.
Yes, we do.
They do it because they care. But she was like, you don't know. Why don't you know? And pass the barrier. So that's kind of when I go, oh, maybe I should have waited till I figured it out.
Maybe.
I think I should give her imagine, but that's not great. Imagine you're sitting on this problem for 2 years.
Yeah, that's not a good thing.
And then you finally come up with the solution. Then you tell her, yeah, I've had this problem for 2 years, Mom. I figured it out. No, that's not good.
Yeah, parents want to know and don't want to know that their kids got problems.
And if you have a cool aunt,
yes,
that they can go to, that will tell you if it's that important.
Yeah. My sister Stephanie is the quote unquote cool aunt. My son knows that he can tell her absolutely anything in the entire world. But she's not going to tell me jack unless it is a life or death situation.
Exactly. I have told all of my nieces and nephews, you can come to me with anything. I'll even bail you out of jail.
Mm-hmm.
Anything. You can tell me anything. And I will even tell you how I'm going to tell your parents if it comes to that.
Right.
But even when you lose your virginity, when you decide to have a boyfriend before college, conservative families, I wasn't allowed to date before college. Yeah, I had 4 boyfriends before I got to college. That didn't matter. My mom, my father did not. But that is the case. You're supposed to, if you can tell somebody, because you're gonna do it anyway, if you can tell somebody and we have that safeguard to know that you're gonna be okay,
right?
That's really what we care about. Yeah. That's all I want.
It's also just providing the security that you know that no matter what, you have someone at your back.
Yeah, that you'll always be supported.
And then it also, on the flip side, do I really want to tell my aunt that I did this? Yeah, no, sorry, I'm going to back out. I'm busy. I can't hang out with you this weekend. It's a great way to judge whether or not an action is worth your time or not.
Yeah. And I love taking my nieces out. Like I love hanging out with them. And nephew. There's 8 nieces, 1 nephew. This is how this works here.
He is going to be very blessed because he will know how to put up with a whole shitload of stuff from a whole shitload of people because of all the chicks.
I told him so much, not about the dating part. The dating part I haven't been able to really profess. I haven't been able to be like, hey, this. But I did teach him how to respect a woman that he's intimately with. Whatever that means.
Whatever that means.
Whatever that means. Because if my sister thinks other, like whatever else that intimacy, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, isn't just, sexual intimacy. I know we're going to wrap this up, but it's not just sexual intimacy. Intimacy is actually being able to tell somebody honestly what you're thinking.
Yes.
And finding the resolutions necessary to make sure you're both respected and taken care of. That's actually true intimacy.
And it could be expressed in so many different ways.
It doesn't have to
and it doesn't have to be physical.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be physical, and it doesn't have to be with a romantic partner.
That's true. Something else we learned.
That's why it's also not flirting. Okay, I'm done. All right, thank you.
And on that note, because we are not flirting today.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
I appreciate all of you. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Thank you very much for listening and enjoying this conversation with us. We will see you next time.
See you next time.
Thank you for joining us. We hope that the discussion today will inspire you to take positive action in your life. Until next week, be empowered.